Senate had to reconvene yesterday because there were certain important issues to be addressed. So the adjournment, sine die, to use Italian word, does not mean that we will not be able to address governance issues. As you will know, there's a leadership to the National Assembly under the chairmanship of Dr. Ahmed Lawal, the Senate President. There will be discussions at the level of leadership as to when necessary approval in plenary is required. So the fact that the Senate is not sitting in plenary does not mean that the Senate is not working or the House of Reps is not working. As of yesterday, 3 p.m., there was a meeting between the Senate Committee on Finance Appropriation, Foreign and Local Loans, and National Planning to discuss with the Honorable Minister for Finance on the rearrangement that have been made to the financing. And you will also know that the Senate is presently expecting the report of the Economic Stimuli Committee set up by Mr. President and which is headed by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. So backdoor, without having to sit in plenary, the National Assembly is working, particularly at this very perilous period, with the executive and other arms of government to ensure that governance is not at the back seat. And I must say that it's very important to make a very important clarification, particularly the intro of saying that the Senate approved a fresh loan of 850 billion naira. That is far from the truth. What happened yesterday was a rearrangement as to the source of the initial loan that had been approved to be part of what should be used to fund the 2020 appropriation budget. You will recall that the Senate had actually approved that 850 billion, but to be sourced from external sources, then another 750 billion to be sourced by internal sources. But as it were, because of the COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria, and of course, because of also the challenge in the international oil market, it is thought fit that it will be pretty difficult and the terms may not be favorable if we still go ahead and take the 850 billion loan already approved in the international market. So what Mr. President requested and sent to the Senate yesterday that was read on the floor was a request as to the source of the 850 billion loan already approved by the National Assembly as part of what will be used to finance the 2020 appropriation. So rather than saying that the National Assembly approved a fresh 850 billion loan, it is actually an amendment of the initial approval as to the source of that 850 billion. So rather than taking a very tenuous and a cumbersome term, which will be available at the international market because of the change in the circumstance due to those enumerated situation, the approval is that 850 billion already approved can be sourced from the domestic capital market.
Senate